here. How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. Over on the total for the daily, we are continuing forward. We're trying to gain some strength, pushing off that double bottom. We do have a bit of consolidation going on the lower time frames. We did record this earlier, but we're re-recording this because the audio wasn't working. So if any of you are here and you jump in the chat and the audio is not working, let me know. But we are trying to push up, so Kasich does want to push forward. Our RSI is continuing up, momentum is rounding away. As that momentum weakens, we do have the potential for that money flow to push down. Our money flow is trying to push lower as that VWAP wants to reject our neutral. So while we do have a bullish pattern, I would exercise caution because we came up to our resistance and got rejected. Or at least very close to resistance. We are continuing above our green EMA, so that could be positive. But we need to keep that bullish momentum on our lower time frames if we're going to keep running up. Otherwise, this could act as like a rising channel. Remember, a rising channel will end up breaking us down. Could draw it from here. Actually, kind of sloppy to draw the rising channel. But just watch because we are going up. We're not really gaining much momentum as we go up. So that momentum could start to fade away on us. Our stochastic does want to push forward. RSI is trying to push up. Our VWAP does want to head up. Our momentum is gaining strength due to that VWAP pushing up. So if the VWAP and momentum can continue forward, our money flow could continue higher and we could see a break up. So over to our 2 hour here. Sorry, trying to watch the chat and this at the same time, not used to it. Over on the 2 hour, we do have a rising bottom with pretty flat tops. So this could try to create a rising triangle. A rising triangle would attempt to push us forward. Stochastic is trying to push up. RSI wants to push up. Momentum is gaining strength. That VWAP is remaining bullish. And the money flow is trying to push with that VWAP. So if our VWAP can sustain this bullish push, we may be able to gain some strength from here. That would give the altcoins the push they need to push forward. But I would watch, as we have hit this range, we're kind of Bart Simpson. That's where you kind of zigzag in a range and you do not break free. So if we're not able to break free, I would exercise caution. But our RSI does want to pull back. Stochastic is running up. Our momentum does want to gain strength. VWAP does have higher highs. We do also have higher lows, so that is a bit of a bullish trend that could help propel us forward. If that sustains, we may be able to hit our neckline, and then we would be able to try to push toward our 716. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, if we zoom out, we can get our fixed range volume profile. There we go. We do have that inverted head and shoulders here. Remember that inverted head and shoulder does want to push us up. That could try to push us up around that 55% zone. But actually, I think that's a break from something else. Let's jump to the 1 hour real quick just to see. Yeah, that would be about the neckline to the head. That's how you get your breakout. Then you apply it to your shoulders, so that would be good. So we'll jump back to the higher time frames and break based on those like we normally do. We are staying above our point of control here. That is very positive for us, but if we cannot sustain this push, we could end up rejecting lower. Our RSI is starting to push down. VWAP is in the bearish territory. Momentum is pushing down, and the money flow is starting to lose some strength. So if that VWAP cannot push forward, we may be able to reject, and that would give the bears the strength to push us lower. That is on dominance, so if dominance weakens, that doesn't mean we have to reject away. Remember, dominance just shows if Bitcoin is going up as opposed to the rest of the market. If altcoins run up ahead of Bitcoin, dominance is likely going to slip, and that's likely going to happen as people start buying into altcoins with the ETF approval. Remember, with Bitcoin, the ETF approval buy did not happen right away, so it could take a little bit. You may also notice we have more coins here, and you see a little bit more on the charts. That's because we have a bit bigger monitor, so hopefully that's good for you. Let me know if you want to see anything different. Drop a comment, drop some in chat. But stochastic does want to head up. Momentum is pushing forward. That VWAP has lower highs, so I would watch. If that VWAP rejects, we could end up pushing away. Money flow is in the bearish territory, so if that VWAP pulls back, momentum likely will pull back too, and that money flow would remain bearish, weakening the daily. Over on our 2 hour, we did try to push forward, but we are starting to reject away from our head and shoulder possibility. This could end up setting us up for a rejection, so I would watch. We did try to push up here, got rejected. We tried to push on this candle earlier when we did our initial recording, but now we are starting to reject away from that. If we break this EMA, we could end up slipping lower. Now, RSI is pretty flat. Our stochastic does want to run up. Our momentum wants to head forward. VWAP is in the bullish territory, but we're a little weak, so watch that VWAP close. If that VWAP ends up snapping down, we could see price action reject and push us lower. Our money flow does want to head up, but with that VWAP weakening, momentum could weaken that money flow, and that would result in the higher time frame starting to push away. Over on the 1 hour here, we do now have a long upper shadow. This was a strong green candle the first time we recorded, but now it's a long upper shadow that shows bulls tried to run us up and bears are stepping in to drop us down. You can see that by how this candle just inched its way down as we're talking. RSI is pulling back as that VWAP wants to push down. If our VWAP cannot bounce off the neutral here, momentum will continue lower, money flow could break with it, and then that would weaken our higher time frames and cause dominance to slip. Again, Bitcoin could go up 1%, and then our altcoins could go up 2%, and that could give us a run forward. Whoever's watching, nice to see ya. Drop some in the chat if there's anything you want to see, or if you have any feedback. But over on our Bitcoin futures for the daily, we are pushing that 69K. We do want to run forward. If we cannot continue above here, we could end up snapping back down and pushing lower. So I would exercise some caution. Our stochastic is dropping down, momentum's rounding away. Our RSI does want to pull back, and that VWAP is in the bearish territory. If our VWAP cannot break for a bullish trend here, we could see a rejection that would lead futures lower, and as futures does lead Bitcoin, we could see Bitcoin lead lower as well. Over on the 4 hour here, jump to the 2 hour, we are struggling with our 69K. If we cannot hold above this, we could create a rounding top. A rounding top would have the possibility to make us pull lower. RSI does want to pull back. Our stochastic is pushing forward. Momentum does want to gain strength as that VWAP pushes up. If that VWAP can sustain this bullish push, momentum could run up and give the money flow strength. But right now, that money flow is struggling and starting to weaken as that momentum is favoring bearishly. So you want that VWAP to continue this run forward if momentum will push up and help strengthen the higher time frames. Over on the 2 hour here, we are pulling back toward that support. Watch if we end up breaking. Our stochastic does want to round away. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is rounding away, so I would watch that VWAP close. If it breaks for a lower low, we could create a new bearish trend, causing momentum to round away, and that could cause money flow to fall flat too, and then weaken those higher time frames. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is starting to pull back. Our RSI is pulling back with it. Momentum's rounding away. Our VWAP is breaking down, so I would watch. If this VWAP breaks for a lower low, momentum will round away. Money flow could fall flat, and that could create a new bearish trend to help push us away. And if we cannot hold this 69K, we do have a slight gap around that 68K we could get hung up on. And if we do not bounce there, our EMA level, our 300 EMA on market cipher B, is at that 66.7. Remember, that's the free market cipher B. You don't need to pay hundreds of dollars for market cipher here. But over on Bitcoin for the daily, we are starting to reject as that future starts to weaken. I did draw a rising channel here on the lower time frames when we did our first TA, and I did warn that if we end up pulling back, we could end up breaking down. That could pull us down toward that 68.5. So that's kind of in line with futures. We will jump back to the daily just to start a normal TA, since that was a little out of the ordinary and you don't know where it came from. But over on the daily, stochastic is pulling back. RSI does want to weaken. Momentum's rounding away. That VWAP is in the bearish territory, and the money flow does want to push away. If that VWAP cannot break for a higher high with a higher low after breaking into the bearish territory here, momentum will continue to weaken, and money flow could break down. That would lead to us pushing down toward that 63K, and if we cannot hold that 63K, we could make a push down toward 57 if we're not careful. So over on this 4 hour, you can see that channel a little better. Again, if you have anything you want to say, drop in the comment. But stochastic does want to run up. RSI is pretty flat here, despite that stochastic running up. But as long as stochastic can stay here, RSI could stay high. If the RSI stays in this overbought area, it can help push price action forward. Our VWAP is starting to round away, money flow is pulling back, and the momentum is rounding, so I would watch very close. If that VWAP breaks our neutral, we could create a bearish trend or get the bearish momentum to break us to the downside here. Over on the 1 hour or 2 hour, I can't read apparently, that's scary, but over on the 2 hour, we are trying to make that bounce off here and continue up, but we're kind of struggling with our EMA. If we break this EMA, that's where we could end up breaking lower. Our stochastic does want to round away. Again, if I'm going too fast or anything, just let me know and I can slow it down for you. Momentum does want to round away. VWAP is in the bullish territory. Money flow is pulling back, so I would watch that VWAP very close. If that VWAP breaks down, we will see momentum curl away and money flow could pull back. That would then lead to the higher time frames pushing lower and giving us the chance to see those support areas. Over on the 1 hour here, RSI is starting to pull back, momentum is running up. VWAP does have consistent highs with a higher low, but those consistent highs are very weak, so I would exercise caution. Excuse me while I take a sip real quick. Tripping everywhere. But those consistent highs are very weak. That could end up breaking us lower if we're not careful. I would watch if we get a lower low, then we could end up breaking for a bearish trend. That bearish trend then could give us the strength to break away from our pattern. Momentum does want to round, so if that VWAP breaks down, momentum will curl away, and that money flow could break bearish as it's just clinging to the bullish territory just barely. It's like by a thread there. Over on graph for the daily, we do have a rising channel here as well. Stochastic is pulling back. Oh, hey, Bill. I did not see you there. Sorry, I had to respond to that chat real quick, but we are attempting to pull back. We do have a little bit of a bounce off the support level. We could push forward if we continue. So if we can continue up, stochastic could make a bounce here, but I would watch. Our RSI does want to gain strength, momentum is rounding away, that VWAP is pushing down, and the money flow is bearish. If that VWAP does not reverse, our momentum could end up breaking down, causing our money flow to trend lower. That could then weaken price action and cause this rising channel to break us lower. Again, if I'm going too fast or anything, let me know. Over on the 4 hour here, we are trying to push forward. Stochastic is running up. RSI does want to gain some strength. Our VWAP's trying to push forward. Momentum's gaining strength. And the money flow is bullish, but very weak. Our VWAP currently has higher highs. If we can solidify higher highs with higher lows, we could solidify a bullish trend that would give momentum the strength it would need to continue forward. Then money flow could run up and give the higher time frame, the daily, the strength to run up. But just watch the top of this channel. We could end up breaking up away from it if we do hit the top of that channel, because we've already made 4 touches to the top. Usually at that 3rd touch, you do want to break down. Oh, sorry, I want to start that chat. I cannot type apparently either, but Bill, I'm sorry to hear that about things going crazy for you. Hopefully everything's getting better. I will reopen that Discord for you. That way we can all chat together. I didn't really think you were using it anymore, so you're like the only person in the Discord talking. So I just didn't think it was getting used. We can reopen that and then we can continue it. But we can do that tonight for you, and I'll drop a Discord link or something in the next video or the next live video. I can just leave a little link here, like between where all my stuff is. That VWAP does want to push up though. Momentum is gaining strength. The money flow does want to continue forward. If that VWAP can continue this bullish trend, momentum could continue forward. That money flow could then gain some more strength, and we could see the daily gain strength. That would be dependent on if these lower time frames can remain more bullish though. Our momentum does want to push up. Stochastic is gaining strength. RSI is running forward. Our VWAP is bullish. This is on the 2 hour. Money flow is bearish though. So if this VWAP does not sustain a bullish run, we currently have higher highs with consistent lows. If we cannot sustain higher highs with higher lows, momentum could pull back and money flow could reject. But if this VWAP does sustain, momentum could continue to run up and that money flow could reverse into a bullish trend. That would then give the higher time frames the strength they need to run forward, and then we could invalidate this pattern. Again, a good trader is prepared for both scenarios. Typically, you want to have alerts for either side. Our stochastic does want to run up here on the 1 hour. RSI is pushing forward. Momentum's gaining strength. Our VWAP does look like it's favoring bullish very slightly, but it's kind of zigzagging around. So I would exercise caution. We have a weak high, a higher high, and then another weak high. So if we see this VWAP break the bearish territory, get a lower low, we could end up breaking down and seeing momentum slip. That would cause money flow to slip as well, as it's trying to break bullish but struggling. If that VWAP cannot sustain, momentum could break down, money flow could break down, then that would lead to our higher time frames pushing down. And as we are in this channel, that could pull us back to that 27-cent area that we do have that breakdown target for. Now over on Ankr for the daily, zoom out here. We are just above that value area high on our previous fixed range volume profile. So you kind of see two fixed range volume profiles overlap. We have a bigger range one here and then a smaller range one for our local range. So our bigger range one is the one we are hanging up on. If we can make a bounce off this bigger range fixed range volume profile, then we could continue to the smaller point of control. And if we can break that, we could continue forward, but we will zoom in to see the micro trend here. Our stochastic is pulling back, RSI is pulling back here, our momentum is going flat as that VWAP is struggling. VWAP is bullish, it got higher highs with higher lows, but now we're kind of whimpering away. So if we break down, that could be a little iffy, momentum could pull back and money flow could push down. That would result in us pushing back toward our 42.89, and if we're not careful, we can push to our 40.49 next. So over on the 4 hour here, we do have a little bit of consolidation, maybe a bit of a rising bottom with a flat top. This could create a small rising triangle that could try to break us toward that EMA. So again, Bill, I hope everything's going good. Hope you're still with us, and I will open that Discord. I will do that tonight for you. Stochastic does want to run up, it is starting to curl away, RSI is pulling back, VWAP does want to round away, and the money flow does want to break down. So I would exercise caution. If that stochastic ends up breaking, RSI could start to slip, and price action could reject. Right here, you do see our EMA bands are very close together. When our EMA bands are close together like this, that does have the potential to break us down or up very quickly. That will depend on if our lower EMAs, like our green, blue, and yellow, can cross and hold above the black EMA, our highest EMA. If they can, that could give us that bullish snap up. However, if we see price action start to slip here, we could confirm bearish strength and continue lower. So I would exercise caution. Again, have your stop losses and alerts ready. Our stochastic does want to run up. We are trying to round away. RSI could lose strength. VWAP's clinging to bullish territory. Momentum does want to push up, but if that VWAP breaks down with lower lows and lower highs, that momentum will bring that money flow into the bearish territory, and we could continue lower from here. So I would exercise caution, but again, with the ETF news, it is likely over the next couple months, we could get a decent push. Remember, it did take some time for Bitcoin to get the push from the ETF news when we got the approval for Bitcoin. But stochastic is pulling back here on the 2 hour. RSI is weakening. That VWAP is in the bullish territory. If it can sustain here, momentum could continue up and the money flow could gain some strength. So I would watch very closely. Also, if any of you want to join us on that new Discord, we're at like 400 people there already, so it's our biggest platform. But stochastic does want to run up. RSI is pushing forward. We only need about 600 more people, and then we can go live on both the YouTube and Discord. I may do YouTube, Discord, and Twitch, but to see how my internet can handle all that. Stochastic does want to push up here. RSI is trying to push up. VWAP is bullish. Momentum's pushing forward, and the money flow does want to push, but it's kind of stalling out. That VWAP needs to continue this higher high with a higher low in order to bring momentum forward, and that would then push our money flow up, and that would give us a solidified bounce off this EMA on the 1 hour. If we can solidify the bounce on the EMA on this 1 hour, then we could continue forward. How do I react here? I wanted to heart your message, Bill. Oh, there we go. I think I did that. But we are trying to run forward. If this 1 hour can continue forward, then the other time frames could gain strength. That would give us the possibility to run up. Remember, we do have that higher gap at that 47, like 47.98 range. So if we can continue our bullish momentum with the VWAP, momentum could push up, money flow could push up, and we could continue higher. Let me know also if the audio sounds a little goofy. I have like everything in a complete new position now with these double monitors I got going on. So I got my mic above me. It used to be below me. So hopefully the audio quality is better. Hopefully it's not worse. But over on XRP, you know, this is one of your favorites here. We did hit our 54 like we said we could, but now we're kind of struggling. So I would watch. We did draw this double top when we recorded the first time. Luckily we have audio this time. But this double top could end up breaking us down, and it could push us near that 49 cents, just shy of that 48 that we've been warning about. If we cannot hold after getting that push down, then that's where we could see our further breakdown toward our 44 that we mapped out a little while ago. Our momentum is remaining bullish. VWAP does have lower highs, and it does have a slightly lower low. If that continues, that could break us down and cause us to slip here. Momentum is rounding, money flow is bearish, and it's starting to round away. So if that VWAP breaks, that money flow could likely follow. Over to the 4 hour here, we are hitting that resistance of our 54. Stochastic starting to round out. We do have our orange above blue, so that is a bearish cross. That bearish cross could end up bringing us lower if we're not careful. Our side does want to pull back. Our momentum is rounding away. VWAP is pushing down, and the money flow is starting to weaken. If that VWAP cannot make a bounce off this neutral, we could see momentum continue lower, money flow could break down, and that would result in those lower price targets possibly. Again, nothing's guaranteed, there's no guarantees, that's why you always want to have stop losses and alerts to help you out and guide you. Stochastic does want to push down here, RSI is starting to weaken, that momentum is starting to push away. VWAP is very weak here on the 2 hour, so we need that VWAP to make a bounce here, then get higher highs with higher lows. If that VWAP cannot make our bounce here, then we could end up rejecting, momentum could curl out, and that could bring our money flow into the bearish territory, giving us a trend reversal and pushing us lower. Over on the 1 hour here, we are trying to run up, but we're starting to curl away. We did do that a couple of times, so that doesn't mean we have to break down, but I would just exercise caution. Our stochastic is starting to round away, causing our RSI to slip. Momentum does want to round. We have a double red dot as that VWAP wants to break bearish. Our VWAP also has lower highs. If that VWAP does break through here, we could see that momentum pull back, and that money flow could end up pushing down with them. That would then start to weaken those higher time frames, and if we zoom in here, we have a little mini rounding top going on, where you have a green candle, a indecision candle, and then a red candle. So if this red candle engulfs that green candle from right here, we could see slippage, or if another red candle engulfs that candle, then we could see the same slippage. So I would exercise caution in this range. We need to break that 54 and hold if we're going to continue higher. If we were to continue higher, we could push up toward the top of our channel right around 55.6. And if we somehow leave that channel out of nowhere, we do have our 57, and then we also have higher price points like our point control way up at that 60-cent area. But remember, we do have the possibility to see almost a 10-cent drop here. Finally, on ALGO, if there's no other coins, Bill, if you have any other coins you'd like to see covered, I can cover something else. Again, you may notice we have some other things. These are just some things that are on my list. ETH, I don't really do Doge. That was a request, but I don't invest in Doge. It's a meme coin. I'm not big on the meme coin thing. But over on ALGO for the daily, we did push up to our 300 EMA, and we're kind of struggling here. If we cannot continue bullish momentum here, this could be all we get on this bounce forward, and then we could reject. That's why you want to watch these EMAs. They're very strong support and resistance areas. We do have some consolidation that could push us up, but that's on the lower time frame, so we'll get into that. Stochastic does want to run up. VWAP is bullish. Momentum is pushing forward. Money flow is going pretty flat. So what we want to see is that VWAP get a higher low, then continue to favor bullish. If that happens, our momentum will continue higher and money flow could flip, giving us some bullish strength here. Over on the 4-hour, you can see we have the possibility to consolidate here. That could give us a bull flag possibility. Again, we use the parallel channel here. You click, then you draw over, then you draw down. That gives you your channel. Then you use the trend line and you draw from the top of resistance to where your run started. And then you apply that to the top to get your break of around 20 cents. Our stochastic does want to pull back. RSI is starting to pull back. That momentum is rounding with a red dot. VWAP does want to break bearish, and the money flow is starting to weaken. We do have a red dot starting to flicker on this momentum wave too. So if that VWAP does break down, momentum could cause money flow to flip, and then we could see a breakdown if we're not careful. Remember, we do have that 1618 and our 1412 support areas. Over on the 2-hour, we could also make a double top here if we're not careful and we break this channel early. That could push us to our 300 EMA. But we have bearish divergence on our momentum. Real quick, if you could, Bill, I'd appreciate if you'd smash the like. RSI is pulling back, stochastic's pulling back, VWAP is in the bearish territory, and our money flow is starting to fall. If that VWAP cannot break for a bullish trend by making a higher low followed by a higher high here, we will see momentum pull back and money flow could break down, and would then cause the higher time frames to start to slip, because remember, the lower time frames do lead the higher time frames, just like futures leads Bitcoin. Over on the 1-hour here, that's where we drew our consolidation. We do have that consolidation. This could give us a bull flag possibility. That bull flag could help push us forward, but with the way the rest of the market is looking, I would exercise caution. RSI is pulling back, stochastic's pushing down. We do have that orange above blue, so that is a bearish cross. That bearish cross could bring RSI and price action lower if we're not careful. Our momentum is starting to round away as that VWAP breaks bearish. We do have a lower low with some weak highs. This could set us up to see momentum continue to fall. If that does happen, money flow will continue lower and we will see those higher time frames start to weaken. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you all have a great night and we will reopen that Discord. How do I close